Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, November 19, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what that has been like in your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazards Outlook. And we're going to be focusing our attention right here across the Atlantic. And we can see that from the time period from November 27 to December 3, as well as December 4 to December 10, there's going to be some amount of above normal rainfall that's expected. We see the light shades of greens into the dark shades of green, stretching all the way from the eastern to the western Caribbean, including Jamaica and the darker shades of greens. And from the time period from December 4 to December 10, we see something similar. And we know the greens represent some above normal rainfall probability. The light shades of greens represent a 50% chance of above normal rainfall, while the darker shades of greens up to at least a 65% chance of above normal rainfall. So that's going to be interesting if that actually verifies, considering that we're wrapping up the rainy season as well as the Atlantic hurricane season in general. So let's see if we actually head into early in December with some amount of rainfall in store for us. As of right now, the latest update from the US National Hurricane Center showing their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we see that as of their latest update that came out at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so this just came out almost an hour ago, considering that it's 7:36 p.m. right now, we can see that they have no tropical cyclone activity that's expected over the next 7 days. However, that doesn't stop us from taking a look at what the next 7 days holds for us across the Caribbean. We're going to be looking at the Euro model first as usual, then we're going to be focusing on the GFS model. Keep your eyes focused right here at the top as well as right here across the Caribbean. We're going to be looking at the next 168 hours, so we're going out in that time frame, and we're going to be looking at this island right here. We're looking at Jamaica, and we're looking for all of the moisture, the greens that represent the one all the way up to maybe 6 inches of rainfall in the yellows. Let us see what the next 7 days has in store for us. Alright, so we've been seeing the trend that for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are still going to be getting in on that little to no rainfall. Definitely a lot of sunshine, definitely a lot of dry air across the basin. We see that. But as we head into Friday, we see the green line associated with some moisture from that frontal system, and it comes into portion of Jamaica, especially northern Jamaica, especially late Friday into Saturday, and then Sunday we see what's taking place. Even more moisture starting to take shape across the central Caribbean, affecting portion of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, as well as Jamaica. And then we're going to be stopping it right there at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for 12Z on Tuesday, November 26th at 7 a.m. next Tuesday. And we see that there's going to be a lot of moisture, especially in and around Jamaica to the south of us, especially the dark greens, the yellows, represents anywhere from 2 all the way to maybe 6 inches of rainfall. Let us see what the latest run of the GFS is showing for the same time period. So going out in time, we see the consensus Wednesday into Thursday and early Friday, definitely no rainfall at all. We see the whites more than anything else. Late Friday into Saturday now, we start to get in on the line of shores associated with that frontal system. We see a lot of it, especially across northern Jamaica. We know the northeasterly flow that the high pressure ridge is going to be causing that cold front to bring. So we also see the moisture that's expected to build up across the central to the eastern Caribbean. Look at all of the moisture to the south of Haiti. Lots of dark greens, yellows, oranges, reds right there. Pushing ahead now. Look at what's expected to the south of Jamaica as we wrap up the next 168 hours. And the GFS has been consistent, especially with that huge blob of moisture to the south of Haiti by the end of the next 7 days. Quite interesting for sure. Either way, we see the consensus that both the Euro and the GFS months have an increase in moisture coming for sure this weekend into early next week, and we might just get in on some isolated flash flooding taking place at first across northern Jamaica, St. Ann, St. Mary, Portland for sure, and then maybe other areas across the island. And we don't see anything formulating right now. We don't see any isobars. We don't see any red L's that represents any area of low pressure. And we know the next name on the list is going to be Tony. After Tony, we have Valerie and William. And it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting that anytime soon. But I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. We can also see that even on the temperature forecast, the cold front is definitely going to be bringing the cooler than average temperatures. This map right here from the GFS is valid for 12Z on Saturday, November 23. This is 7 a.m. on Saturday, this Saturday. And for reference, we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some slight blue colors. And we know the blue, based on what we see on the key on the right, represents below average temperatures. And look at even some of the greens out in here. And even the colors within those greens. This looks like the purple right in here. And we can see it all on the key on the right. Let us take a look. Going down, that matches up to almost what, 8 degrees Celsius below normal right here off the east coast of the United States. But Jamaica, we're starting to get in on some of the cooler than average temperatures associated with that cold front. We see more so somewhere between, let's say, -1 or -2. Let's see exactly what unfolds as time goes on. Either way, the cold front coming definitely going to be bringing some cooler than average temperatures to portion of the island. And we are already being affected by a cold front, but most of the cooler than average temperatures are off to the north of Jamaica as we speak, even although some of it has been spilling into section of the island. I know some of you have been feeling the cooler than average temperatures, especially during the night time and the early morning hours for sure, and I'll be highlighting that shortly. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days from the Euro and the GFS models, we see that there's consensus that there's going to be a lot of rainfall. We see the dark reds, we see the purples, the pinks. That represents all the way from 2 all the way up to 6 inches of rainfall, especially for the waters of the southern Caribbean. Portion of Honduras going to be getting it once again. Some of this rainfall spilling into the southern Bahamas, eastern Cuba, the Turks and Caicos, eastern portions of the Dominican Republic going to be getting it for sure. And we need to understand that these are some very mountainous countries: Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, northwestern Venezuela. We spoke about this map yesterday showing the topography, and we know the topography over some of these countries can definitely lead to landslides or more rainfall squeezing out, especially over the mountainous regions. And we see the mountains, anywhere from the yellows all the way to the reds represents our mountainous regions, and we see that a lot across portions of Colombia, western Venezuela, sections of western Panama, Costa Rica, sections of Honduras for sure, eastern Jamaica for the most part, and section of the Dominican Republic. So it definitely matches, and if we're going to be having a lot of rainfall over those spots, there could definitely be some landslides taking place. But regarding the accumulated precipitation of Jamaica within the next 7 days, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected all the way up to Tuesday, November 26th. And we can definitely see what's expected. Look at all of the greens, the yellows, the oranges. That represents anywhere from 15 all the way up to maybe 70 millimeters of rainfall, and we see that especially on the north coast from both the Euro and the GFS model. So that only means one thing: we're going to be getting in on that moist northeasterly flow across the island, bringing a lot of rainfall to those parishes that have been getting drenched for the past month. We're talking about Portland, St. Ann, St. Mary for sure. Some of this going to be spilling into portion of Trelawney, St. James too. And don't be surprised if some of this rainfall that's expected this weekend for northern Jamaica. Don't be surprised if some of this spills into sections of some southern parishes as well. But for the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, early Friday, definitely gonna be dry days for sure. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we definitely have a ridge of high pressure right here to the north of the Bahamas. We see a frontal system right here. This is the frontal system that has been causing the cooler than average temperatures in the portion of Jamaica for the past couple of days. We can see a trough right here squashed to the southern portion of the Central Caribbean, the intertropical convergence zone right here, and a trough of low pressure right here to the north or the far north of the Cabo Verde Islands. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely make out all of the entities that we just mentioned. First of all, the clouds associated with the trough across the southern Caribbean, the clouds associated with that frontal system stretching all the way down into portions of the Caribbean. We can make out as well the clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone right in here. We can actually make out the clouds associated with the strong cold front. It has already begun to do some damage, lots of showers and thunderstorms across portions of the southern and eastern United States, and we can see it all even better on the infrared. Look at the deep convection associated with this cold front. Can you imagine if some of this makes it into Jamaica? It would be bad news for sure. Look at all of the yellows, oranges, reds, lots of showers and thunderstorms, especially across the waters of the Gulf of Mexico as we speak, filling into sections of some of the Gulf states of the United States right there. We're talking about Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, spilling into portions of Georgia as well. Alright, so let us take a look at what was predicted in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. So if you remember yesterday's video, we highlighted that yes, we would have received a northeasterly flow, and if anything, we would have received some rainfall across sections of some northern parishes, maybe some isolated shores across southern parishes. But we highlighted the fact that for the most part, the models are definitely in consensus that it would have been more on the sunnier side across most parishes in general. By the way, just for reference, we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While southern parishes, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. Let's talk about the eastern, central, and western parishes. We know eastern parishes. We're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? A post wasn't even made on our social media platforms today because the day was definitely sunny for the most part. We saw that it was definitely clear, even although we did indeed have some cloud cover across sections of Portland. Maybe some overcast skies, if not some isolated shores. But that was just about it. Maybe some clouds starting to build right there on the border of Trelawney and Manchester, or the border of Clarendon and the southern St. Anne. But for the most part, definitely a sunny day, void of clouds for the entirety of the day. And the infrared satellite images confirm this. We don't see the cumulonimbus clouds. We don't see the high cold cloud tops as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, blacks, grays, purples at all. Definitely fair weather for the most part today. And this should continue into Wednesday, Thursday, and early Friday before we get in on that cold front. And the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology confirms the dry weather across the island today. For the most part, just some dots of purples indicating the low end of the scale in terms of rainfall for the very areas that we saw the clouds. Sections of Portland and sections of northern, maybe Manchester, northwestern Clarendon, southern St. Anne right there. And we definitely have confirmation from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Barbican camera that it was definitely sunny today. This image as of 3:10 p.m. we can see definitely sunny. Don't even have clouds blocking out the sun at all. People in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely sunny skies for the most part across Barbican in St. Andrew today, just as predicted. And if we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. Alright, so the latest image is as of 0035 UTC. So this is as of 7:35 p.m. So this just came out, what, 5, 10, 14 minutes ago, and we can see not much change. Definitely sunny conditions. Well, not even sunny, it's evening time now. So definitely clear conditions right now for the most part. See some milky whitish colors off to the far east, nothing too significant right now. And let us see if the Cuban Doppler radar images confirm this. Doppler radar images from Cuba have been glitching out for the past week. Hopefully they get it sorted out, because boy, we really need a Doppler radar to use in Jamaica. We see how wet it can be when it's ready for us here in Jamaica. Alright, here we go. So the latest still images as of 7:40 p.m. So this one just came out 10 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:50 now. And look, we can actually make out some rainfall within those clouds that we saw to the east of the island. We saw on the latest still image some milky whitish clouds right here way out to the east of the island, and there's actually some rainfall within some of that, but don't expect any of that to come onshore tonight at all. They're definitely not even moving. Look at that. You see them coming on, we see them dancing, and then they just vanish or dissipate. That's basically what's expected these days. Lots of dry air within the area. And the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery shows the rainfall right there between Jamaica and Haiti as well. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, not seeing much of anything. Definitely dry days as well. Cayman Islands in the clear, Cuba, Jamaica in the clear for sure. And if we take a look at the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, by the way, I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They show live streams of not only Halfway Tree and Barbican, but Crossroads. They also show the Flat Bridge in St. Catherine, Panoramic City View, the Kingston Harbor, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. So we can definitely see Halfway Tree right there, definitely dry. People walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business for sure. Not much of anything to report. Weather should remain the same, fair, within the next 3 days. And if you take a look at the temperatures right now, we can still have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 22 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 21 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Alright, so we've been talking about the frontal system that has brought some cooler than average temperatures into portion of Jamaica, but I've highlighted the fact that majority of the cool air associated with this cold front have been more so off to the north of us, even though we've been feeling some slight cooler than average temperatures recently. Most of it is definitely off to the north and east of us, affecting Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. And this is the forecast for 1 p.m. on Wednesday, having Jamaica receiving more of the gray colors. And we know the gray colors represent what we see on the key on the right. Basically average temperature 0, not the yellows represent 1 or above normal temperatures, 1 or more above normal temperatures, or the blues represent -1 or 1 below normal temperatures. It's the gray, so we're smack dab in the middle. And right there in the middle, we're talking about average or normal temperatures for the month of November. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of November are around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And when 88 degrees Fahrenheit is calculated to degrees Celsius, it's about anywhere from 31 to 31.1 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be the temperature forecast for tomorrow. And something that I need to start highlighting, because we say, oh, it's 31 degrees Celsius, it's not going to be hot. But we need to take into account that many of us use fans, if not ACs. But what if there are power outages like today? Today I wasn't feeling so well, so I didn't go to work. And I was saying, oh, I have fan, I have AC. Let me relax at home. But no, according to my JPS, they posted a couple days ago that there would have been a power outage in my part of St. Thomas today, and I definitely got it from 9 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. just like they predicted. So I'm gonna start showing this more often, because boy, the fact that today was a sunny day, I had to deal with the heat. Didn't have a fan, didn't have the AC to turn on. Boy, it was crazy. So I had to, follow the tips that I usually show about how we should beat the heat. But the latest from my JPS Online on their Twitter page for tomorrow, Wednesday, November 20, they highlight that from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Richmond, Rock River, Top and Bottom, Leinster, if I'm not butchering that name, and Scotts Hall, those areas are going to be having maintenance outage advisory. We're talking about the parish of St. Mary. So if you know our friends or relatives who live in that area, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Wednesday. Let's also skip over. We also have maintenance outages for sections of Hanover for tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. for Prospect to Pell River in Hanover. If you have friends or relatives in those areas, let them know what's coming. We also have maintenance outages for St. Anne for the same time period, Wednesday, November 20, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That's in Parrytown. So if you have any friends or relatives in that area, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. And finally, we also have a maintenance outage for portions of Trelawney. Well, one section in Trelawney. That's Duncan's Bay in Trelawney from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So these areas are going to be affected by some amount of maintenance outages. If you're in the mix for some of that, try to beat the heat, because boy, power outages are not cute. Can't be using our fans or ACs. You know the drill. Seek shade when you're outside. Eat fresh. Try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep, and rest if you're feeling tired. So take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always keep hydrated. Drink lots of water. Put away the sugary drinks. Drink water instead. Alright, so we need to highlight the fact that there's a lot of dry air in our area. So this map, we're looking at the dry air. Anything from the yellows all the way into the oranges and the red. Dry air, especially some dry cool air. And we see a lot of that, especially across Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Cuba, the Bahamas, Jamaica. This is why it has been so dry recently. We see the blue skies. So this is not Saharan dust at all. Definitely a lot of dry sinking air, which explains the lack of clouds and showers and thunderstorms for sure across our area. If we actually want some rainfall, we have to see more of this. We have to see more of the blues across our area, and we're not seeing that at all. It's more so in the way of a lot of dry sinking air, all courtesy of the cooler than average temperatures that we're gonna be, well, the backside of that cold front in general that has brought the cooler than average temperatures, especially right here to the north and east of us, while the actual Saharan dust still right here across the eastern main development region in Africa. We see the browns right here for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, still affecting that region. Jamaica right over here, going to be in the clear for that time, 2 p.m. on Wednesday. In terms of the waves, not much change. More of the light shades of blues to darker shades of blues, anywhere from 0.5 of a meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave heights. That's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10, maybe up to 15 knots at most. We see the wind starting to come down from the north across the Gulf of Mexico, all courtesy of the cold front. We see the winds across the Caribbean, more so from the east-southeast across the eastern Caribbean, more so from the northeast across the Leeward Islands into Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, pushing westward to the south of Jamaica, and then pushing northward towards the Yucatan Peninsula right there. And regarding the close-up of Jamaica in terms of the wind, don't see much in the way of strong winds at all. Winds seem to be bearable for the most part for tomorrow. Look at what we're talking about. We see more of a northeasterly kind of flow on the north coast. We see more of an northeasterly flow on the south coast, but kind of curving northward right here on the southern portions or the south coast of the island. We even see it right here on the Euro model, more so of a southwesterly flow right here, southerly flow right here, easterly flow right here. This is what we call variable winds. Winds are not coming out of a specific direction in a strong fashion. So this is what's going to be expected for tomorrow. Regardless, the air is not going to be piling up and causing rainfall across any spots, because as I've stated before, there's a lot of dry, stable air in our neck of the woods. And we see it here being represented by the yellows, oranges, and the reds. And as such, The rainfall forecast maps are not showing much of anything. Yes, we're gonna be still getting on those rainfall bands right there out to the south and east of us. We already saw the rain to the east of us, the far east of us, but it's gonna remain in that spot. And this is valid on the GFS for 8 a.m. on Wednesday. And this is also valid on the Euro for 8 a.m. on Wednesday. And what do we see across Jamaica? Nothing. Whites. That represents sunny conditions. Even during the afternoon at about 3 p.m. we still see much of the same. Whites all across the island from east to west, with the same across the waters to the south and east of us. I guess that's where the rainfall is going to be out to sea, while across the island we're definitely going to be experiencing sunny conditions for the most part. And as such, the accumulated precipitation forecast from the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that there's not going to be much of anything being recorded within the next 24 hours. We see more whites and grays than anything else. That represents the bottom of the barrel in terms of the scale of the accumulated precipitation on the right. While we see the greens out to sea, and we don't expect any of that to be coming on land at all. We see, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if any of that meanders or comes on shore across eastern Jamaica. And this is expected. We're starting to taper off in terms of the rainfall that we usually receive for the year in the month of November. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall. That's 2 inches. In Montego Bay's bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom. We usually receive up to almost 5 inches of rainfall. That's almost 125 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and they shall show you your parish and how much rainfall you receive throughout the year on the rain gauge. And we know that when it comes to rainfall on the rain gauge, it can be measured in both inches and millimeters. And we know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus your attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a trough bringing some clouds, showers and thunderstorms, especially right there to the north of the ABC Islands. We also have the clouds associated with that frontal system affecting portion of the Gulf states of the US. We also have portions of the Bahamas getting in on some amount of cloud cover. We see some rainfall into portion of the Leeward and Windward Islands, so too southern Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica right there getting in on some amount of rainfall. So too sections of Guatemala, El Salvador getting in on some amount of rainfall. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images, we can actually see some amount of rainfall right here across the Leeward Islands. Right here across northern portion of Puerto Rico, we see some rainfall. We also see some rainfall across section of the Leeward Islands right here, across Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat getting in on some rainfall as we speak. If we take a look right here at the Barbados radar, we can see some rainfall in and around Barbados, but nothing affecting Barbados right now as of the moment. There's some rainfall to the north of there. We also see some rainfall to the east of Tobago, some rainfall affecting northeastern Trinidad, some rainfall in and around St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, some heavy rainfall affecting portion of the Grenadines as we speak. We see the dark greens, we see the yellows that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall. And we also see some rainfall coming into portions of St. Vincent, some rainfall coming into section of southeastern St. Lucia, some rainfall right there to the east of Martinique. And if we take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall right there to the north of the ABC Islands, just like what we saw associated with that trough. We also see some rainfall across portions of northwestern Venezuela, some rainfall across portions of Colombia. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we see the greens into the yellows and the oranges, and the reds represents anywhere from 0.2 all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall for portions of western Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, section of Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, section of northern and southern Venezuela, Guyana, section of Trinidad and Tobago, the waters to the ABC Islands, sections of Barbados, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts, Anguilla, St. Barts, and if I didn't say it as yet, Antigua and Barbuda definitely going to be getting on some amount of rainfall. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.